Hi guys, Yadi here. Welcome to part 4 of the Art Encounter at Home art series. This week we're going to be focusing on lines and shapes. We're going to be taking those lines and shapes and creating a piece of artwork. Now this week what you're going to need is this. Let me pull this up a little bit so you can see. So you're going to need a lead pencil, very important, a box of crayons or cray pastels, some pencils, color pencils if you have them, some markers if you have them. A eraser may play into this week's project. A ruler, always keep that ruler, and maybe a pencil sharpener if you're using color pencils of any type, all right? Now, we're going to add to this list by finding containers that has a shape at the bottom, different shapes. For instance, I have a few containers. I have this container that has this oval shape that I'm going to want to use. I found this old bottle of honey, and I love that shape, so I'm going to use that shape to trace. One of my paint containers will give me this interesting shape, yeah. I can even use my crayon or pastel box as part of a shape. So take a minute, go get all your supplies ready, find 4 objects with different shapes that you can trace onto a piece of paper, and we'll get started. Okay, so you should have all your supplies ready and your 4 objects that you are going to trace onto your piece of paper. Now your paper can be 8.5 by 11, 9 by 12. Mine is 9 inches by 9 inches. You just want a piece of paper that all your objects will be able to fit on, okay? So now we're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to trace the bottom of these objects onto our page. Now, I did start mine, but let me show you what I did. I took that pastel box and I just placed it on my sheet and I traced it, okay? Not too heavy, just enough so that it appears on the paper. Then I took this organic shape, because it doesn't fit into the geometric category. Organic shape, I laid it on top and I traced it, all right? So you want to trace those objects at their bottom. So I'm starting here and I'm running my trace. My little honey jar, I lay here and I do my tracing. Now sometimes you'll run into hiccups where your pencil will move outside the surface. You can always correct that. This one I had to correct a few times. Just erase the part that came down wrong. And then you have that one, and I'm going to put that one on, that oblong shape, and trace it. Okay? So once I've traced it, this is what I came up with. Yours may be different. It depends on where you placed your objects on top of each other. Now notice that I have these lines going through, right? Everything is being seen. Now I need to determine which object is on top and which object is beneath another object, okay? So I really want this organic shape to be on top. So I'm going to erase that line so that my huge organic shape is on top, all right? There we go. And that's out. It is now on top. Now I need to determine whether this is on top or beneath that rectangle. I think I want it on top. So I'm going to erase this line so that it's on top. Take everything out of the object that you want on top, all right? So you see that? Next we have this this oval shape. So I want this oval underneath my rectangle. So what I need to do is erase part of that oval that's on top of the rectangle. Okay, let me do a little correction here. And that's what my design pattern will look like, all right? So after I've done all of this, I've gotten all my shapes and who's on top, who's on bottom, I'm going to start creating lines with those shapes. Now I started mine. What I did was I followed the line of the object. So I've got this really cool, organic, flowery shape there. That one worked fine. Here, my oval, I just followed it inward. Now, what if you want your lines, you want this part open for some reason? Then I would start my lines from the outside, okay? I'm going to start those lines from the outside. So that when I'm done, this one is fanning outward. And I have this space in the middle. Now, I don't have a lot of space outside of mine. So we know my lines are going to be limited here. But I'm going to take them as far as I can take them, right? It's getting bigger and bigger. Should I do one more? I think I can get one more right here. All right. So maybe later when I start, you can use your ruler to do this. I'm just doing it this way so that you can see. I took that one to the outside, yes? Now maybe this one. Now, I could have used my ruler to get that same effect, see? Just follow those lines, but I didn't. Anyway, then you have this rectangle. I could take my lines and make them vertical, right? Or I could decide that my lines are going to go horizontal. Now, remember, if something's on top of an item that you're adding lines to, you have to skip past it. So if you notice, my line ran into that organic shape, so I had to skip past and then finish the line. Your lines can be diagonal, yes? Or it can be a combination of all three. That's up to you. That's a decision you will have to make. So you should take a moment, finish your shapes outline, put your lines in, whatever direction they're going. Because I have this middle, maybe I'm going to create something in here, like a banana or something, or a character that you like to create, whatever. But I have this wide open space that I may be able to use to do something else. So get going with your final design in pencil mode, and we'll come back and add color to change this into a beautiful painting. Okay, so we should now be at a place where we have all our lines in. I have all my lines in. I even decided to create a little character in that open circle since I took this from the outside, okay? So now it's time to start thinking about how we're going to color things. I think I'm going to start with a red. Now, what I want you to keep in mind, leave this line. Do not color this line until the end because we want that line, that outside line of each of our objects to pop out. So I'm going to start with this inner line here. And I'm going to start adding my color. All right? And as you notice, I'm using a colored pencil. Starting with my red. Okay, so jumping ahead, I use my green to outline my organic shape here. And then I added colors to kind of fan that out into this beautiful, colorful palette, red, orange, and yellow. Next, I need to choose a color for these lines in my diamond shape octagon. So I'm going to use red to outline all these lines. Okay, so you want to cover all of that. Swing that around. You're going to have a different color to deal with your lines for each object. So I'm using red, green, yellow, orange, and blue. Okay, so all my lines, oops, I made a mistake by putting red here. This is actually that outside color. You notice I didn't color here. That outside line is going to be a different color. It'll be one of these 4 colors that are creating the lines in my objects, and we'll see that in a minute. Okay. Now I'm rushing, so I'm not making my lines as neat as you're going to. Okay. All right. We got that. We said this one's going to be yellow. I'm going to switch to a marker because my marker's yellow feels a little stronger than my pencil. You can use your pencil and just repeat to make sure that your color is showing through that pencil line, because we did do pencils first. Now, if you're really brave, you can do this without adding pencil lines. Just go and grab your crayon and go straight inside and repeat the object shape. Oops, I did it again. So that's a no-no, remember? We'll come back. Good thing that's yellow. Here I'm going to go with a blue. So I'm going to do this and try not to touch my outside line. Can you see that? Let's keep that steady. Now, when you're dealing with straight lines, you may want to use your ruler just to make sure they're straight. This will do for me right now. Okay. And so. And then I took diagonal. Now you notice that my lines that I put in my rectangle came in all directions. Horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Now my lines are pretty much measured about the same width apart, but you don't have to make it the same width. That's up to you. Come up with some idea. So that is the start of that. Now I have to decide which colors are going to go around what. So I think I'm going to take my blue from those lines and make it the outside of my red shape here. Okay. And You can try to make that outside line a little thicker than the ones you made in the center. And let's capture this since we... Okay. And my yellow, I think I'm going to use the green. So let's take our green. And if you're using pencils and you have a green marker that's richer than your pencil, I would go with the marker. Okay. Here's my green. Now, let's see, I had yellow and I think I'm going to use yellow here. It matches the yellow from the oval shape that I just played with. Okay. And I like this yellow so much. I could have used... Okay. Here's my yellow. So that means the only color left is that red. So let's grab our red and outline this in red. I'm using a pencil this time, and you notice how I am scribbling here to make it heavy. It's like a scribble. Just repeat over the line so that my red will clearly pop, okay? You see the difference of how the objects themselves are popping out a little better by changing that color outline, right? So we're looking like that. Wrap that up there. Now, I could leave that just the way it is, but I think I want to make it, this part, I could leave it white, but I think I want to do something a little more creative. So I'm going to drop in some design here. I'm adding my own little shapes just to make this a little more exciting, okay? Just go there. And it makes that a little more fun. I could have even used orange because it would have showed up a little better, but I think we're getting a pretty fair idea here. Okay. And here. Okay, look even better, doesn't it? Now, I think here, I want to color in maybe around here. Let's color that in. Grab the marker, because I want this to look like this. All right. I want some kind of color in there, just to make that one pop a little more. That looks fairly decent. And let's see, I want to pop that one out a little more so that it has more of a personality. What do you think? I think that works, doesn't it? All right, so now let's do a little more with this. This is the only area I crossed over with my line, so I'm gonna color in blue right here. And I think I'm going to take this and make it blue. Just so you don't forget about that shape hiding under that big organic shape. I want my rectangle to be recognized under here. So there you go. And so far so good. Now I need to deal with, I'm going to put an image in here, maybe a character, so that's something you will want to think about. And I'll show you that later when I show you the finished piece. So I have all this negative space. I think I'm going to create something here. I'm going to just take color and wrap it around these three shapes. And I'm going to make it much wider than my lines. I think I'm going to go like this, this, and this. Because I want to get rid of all this negative space. So I'm going to color that in here. Okay, I'm liking that. Okay, we're running out of time here. So here's one color. And then maybe I'll take another color. And it's still a little red, huh? So I'm doing some color matching here, just a little. I'll make that solid. And then maybe a blue. Maybe blue goes here. Okay? So I've addressed this whole negative space area down here. And perhaps I'll take pastel and put it up here. So that's our start. I'm going to lay this down for a minute so you can see. That's our start. Now I'll reveal the final project. So there you have it, our finished product. We took lines and shapes to create our new masterpiece. I created a different one if you want to take a different approach to it. So you come up with some wonderful ideas. And I hope you really think outside the box. Remember, you can add characters in the middle. You can do whatever you want, but keep in mind we're doing lines and shapes. And until next time, be safe, be healthy, be patient, and be creative. We'll see you soon.